doing? How y'all living? How y'all feeling? Tasha checking in with another video, and this is going to be none other than the wrap up of the Diddy trial. Yes, y'all, I know I've been missing for a little bit, but y'all, I got the sauce, I got the juice, everything that you need to wrap up this said trial. So if it's your first time joining me, go ahead and like this video, comment in the comment section, and most importantly, subscribe to your girl. Hit that subscribe button for your girl one time, one time. Shout out to the replay watchers. Thank you for checking with your girl. Go ahead, like the video up and subscribe. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Y'all, this case is finally over. 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 Okay. Everyone has rested their cases. The jury went in and deliberated. And this is what happened on today. So I'm going to drop it for y'all in case y'all haven't heard. Some of y'all may have already got the sauce, may have already heard. I dropped a short earlier today and I had to get some rest, but I said I'm going to come in, do a deep dive, running a little late. However, I'm going to come in and do this deep dive real quick on what happened today in the Diddy trial. Okay. Are y'all shocked? Are y'all shocked? I was a little bit of shocked. Okay. I thought he was going to go down for longer. However, let's get into what happened on today. All right, y'all. So let's do it. Let's do it. I ain't got much time because I got to get on to the good old job this evening. So I'm going to just take a few minutes to give y'all the notes that I have that happened in this case. All right. So Diddy was found guilty on 2 out of 5 of the counts. Okay. Now, he was let off on the major charges. Now, he was found not guilty on the sex trafficking against Cassie and Jane, and he was also found not guilty on the racketeering charge. Okay. And so those two were the main charges that could have carried life in prison. However, he was found guilty of the transportation to engage in prostitution with Jane, and he was also found guilty in transportation to engage in prostitution. Okay, now both of those charges carry a weight at max of 10 years. So Diddy is very much still looking at least 20 years in prison if they decide to give him the max charges. But the main charges that he was convicted or charged with, those have been not guilty, which was the sex trafficking and the racketeering. Okay, so let's get into it. So this was Diddy's whole vibe today in court, right? So he was reading Psalms 11. What's going on, everybody coming in the room? Make sure you tap that like button. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Redefine Me channel. Let's get into the juice. Okay, he was reading Psalms 11 before the opening of court, trying to set the mindset of the whole vibe in the courtroom, right? That he was just like, this changed man, and he was trying to be on his spiritual level and all of that, right? So he getting into the good old good book, the Bible, and he was up here reading Psalms 11. Okay, the judge, now the day before the jury was hung, okay, they had one person on the jury staff that just wasn't sure about all of the charges. And the judge said, listen, we're not going to do this. Y'all going to go back in that room. Y'all going to deliberate and y'all going to come out with these verdicts because I'm tired of it. The judge was probably like, look, 4th of July weekend is coming. I want to relax. I don't want to still be dealing with this case, right? And so the jury came back. They took 14 hours to deliberate, okay? And they came back with the following. All right. So not guilty on the racketeering. Okay. Conspiracy. He got the not guilty charge for that. Count 2. That was count 1. Count 2. Okay. He got not guilty on sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion. Okay. That was count 2. Now, at this point, Diddy and his family is like fist bumping. Diddy is up here really excited because he's like, I'm coming home. He looked back at his family. He was like, I'm coming home. Everything's going to be gravy. Everything's going to work out. Okay. So then we get to count 3. All right. Transportation to engage in prostitution. They found him guilty. Now, with that count, that carries a max sentence of 10 years. So not saying he will get 10 years, but it carries a max sentence of 10 years. Okay. Count number 4, sex traffic, force, fraud on Jane. Okay. Not guilty. All right. So he got not guilty for that on Jane. Now, the last count, count number 5, transportation to and gain in prostitution with Jane, he was found guilty. That charge also carries a max weight of 10 years. So Diddy got accused of 2 out of 5 of the counts. Now, he could actually be looking at 20 years if the judge decides to give him the max penalty for those crimes. All right. So after the verdicts was in, he's hugging his lawyers. He's looking back at his family. He all of a sudden, y'all, in the courtroom, Diddy is so dramatic. In the courtroom, all of a sudden, he drops down to his knees, right? No one was expecting it, and acting like he was in prayer. Now, I'm not going to say the man wasn't in prayer. However, we don't know. But he gave the appearance that he was on his knees in prayer, very thankful. He clutched his hands together, pumping it to the jury and praying hands, saying, "Thank you so much. Thank you so much." Couple of people nodded, smiled. Some people didn't have any emotion or reaction right to that. What else? So the judge is now asking his lawyer, what does bail look like for Diddy? Okay. What does a bail packet look like? The lawyer says he did not have time to put one together. However, this is a proposed bail packet. So now they are fighting after the charges was read. They're fighting for bail. They're fighting for him to be able to go home until sentencing happens for him, which will be 30 to 60 days. Okay. So the proposed bail packet to the judge looked like $1 million that he would pay. His lawyer also said he has no passport, he has no private jet. His jet is actually rented out right now. It's not even in the US. And he has 3 responsible family members that are able to sign for him to get him out on bail. And the lawyer also said he will only travel to states where his homes are at, right? So this is a whole packet that was put together. Of course, the prosecution was like, no bail, because during the case he has had ways to manipulate people that were supposed to be on the stand and different things like that. He has outside forces, different people that he knows, things like that. So the prosecution was like, no, we don't want any bail. Okay. And so the judge came back with a verdict on the bail that I was just like, wow, I thought he was going to give him the bail based off of the fact that he got dropped, that the 2 main charges, was dropped. So I thought the judge was going to actually grant him bail, but no, that did not happen. The judge denied the bail, and he denied it because the mere fact he said that he was convicted of 2 of the 5 counts. So because he was convicted of 2 of the 5 counts, the judge was like, no, we're not going to do bail. So Diddy has to remain locked up until sentencing, which will be 30 to 60 days later from this date. So that is what went down today in court. Okay. As I had reiterated in the beginning, he got off of the 2 main charges that could have carried a life sentence. So at best, right, if the judge decides to hand down the hammer, hand down a lengthy charge against Diddy, at best, what he is looking at right now could possibly be 20 years. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think Diddy's going to get the 20 years? I mean, he has these 2 counts. They carry 10 years max apiece. Now, he could possibly get the 20 years. I don't know, right? Y'all let me know what y'all think. I've always said from the beginning that he was going to serve 10 years. Like that's just, I don't know. That was just my theory. I always said that he was probably going to do like 10 years, not life. Okay. But we shall see. So if they're saying 30 to 60 days for sentencing, we're looking at anywhere from what's today? July. We're looking at anywhere from August until maybe November. He might end up getting the sentence, but he has to stay in jail all of that time until the sentencing is handed down. Now, in my opinion, after everything, I don't see why the judge would keep him in there at like till November, right? If anything, I would like to hear the verdict, the final verdict for him, at least by August, okay? And so the judge very well may do that. But if y'all just jumping in this video, he did beat the top 2 charges, which was sex trafficking and racketeering. Okay, he got off those, so he don't have those under his belt. However, he was prosecuted for 2 of the counts, and those counts both carry 10 years max sentencing. Okay. Now, y'all give me replay watchers. This is a really quick, short video. So if you're jumping in and you're joining, go ahead and smash the like button. Go ahead and smash the subscribe button. And I just want to come on and give you all the verdict for the trial. So this is what we're dealing with right now. As of right now, and the activity outside the courtroom, child, if I had the money, I would have flew to New York today to be out there, because people were actually outside of the courtroom, right, thinking they were going to see Diddy walk out of the courtroom. Like, if y'all don't know, there are a lot of people who are in support of Diddy. And they were all outside the courtroom, right? We could see his children leaving the courtroom after the verdict was read. We could see his mom when she was going into the courtroom to support him, right? But we also saw a bunch of people outside hoping to see Diddy come out of the courtroom so that they can have some footage and everything. There was like camera crews, all type of media up and down the street and everything. They had NYPD. They was outside making sure that the crowd was just, calm, cool, and collective, right? And so yeah, y'all, it was a day. It was a day outside the courtroom, and I'm telling y'all, if I had the opportunity, I would have took my happy hips right to New York to be in the midst and at least get some footage, okay, and show y'all what was going down up there. However, everything that I read, this isn't a long video, you can go back and watch the replay, but everything I read, if you take nothing else from it, that he is guilty of at least 2 out of the 5 charges, okay? I just think that, in my opinion, the prosecution did not do their due diligence and do a good job. I feel that they should have proven a little bit more on this case if they were bringing these charges against him. And unfortunately, they did not do such a good job. And a lot of the witnesses that they called were not very credible for the prosecution side. Like Jane, for example, I think Jane was a person that really did more damage to the prosecution than help. Okay, because at the end of the day, she was a girlfriend that was receiving gifts and everything from Diddy. She admitted that when they initially did the first freak off, she was cool with it. She said she thought it was going to be a one-time thing, but it ended up being an ongoing thing. But she never was forced to do it. She was down for the cause. Why? Because he was paying her $10,000 rent every month, and so prosecution really had some people that came up on the stand that didn't really help their case, and this is why we are at the verdict that we are at now. Diddy still has a long way to go, because not only does he have these 2 counts that he has to get sentenced for, he also has at least 80 civil lawsuits that he has to settle. Not only that, y'all remember the other day I told y'all, or I don't know if I told y'all, but his son Justin Combs, I think it's Justin. Yeah, Justin Combs. He came out with a lawsuit of his own that someone has dropped, a woman from Louisiana, claiming that him and Diddy raped her along with a couple of other guys. Okay, so they have another lawsuit that they are named in that just got dropped on the day that the defense was wrapping up their closing argument for the Diddy case. So they have a new case. So Diddy has a long way to go. He's not out of the woods yet. So him dropping to his knees and being thankful to God, okay, from what we saw, was just all dramatics and bells and whistles, because you still have to get your sentencing, sir. And not only that, you still have a new case that came out with your son. And if this woman pursues it, you could find yourself right back in court trying to fight that. And then you have all these civil cases that you have to settle as well. And so he's not out of the woods yet, y'all. For everyone who was hoping for a guilty verdict, he still has some time to go, and I still believe that he is going to serve some time in jail. Now, we already know life in jail is off of the table for him. He's not going to end up serving life. However, he does have some things that he still has to account for. And even if he got away with stuff, right? Let me just say this. Nobody is getting away with anything. God sees all. Okay. So in the court of the earth, if he ended up getting off these major charges and he actually did it, because only one that knows that he did it is himself and God. Okay. So if it is, it will be handled. If not on this earth, he will get his judgment for it. Okay. However, I'm not wishing doom and gloom on Diddy. I do hope out of this experience that he has humbled himself, and that he has grew a relationship with God, and that he does come to Christ, and that he does stop doing all of the things that he was accused of in this case. Okay. And so we shall see how it goes. I will still be coming in and giving y'all the information that I gather. But as of right now, y'all, life is off the table. He is actually facing potentially 20 years. He's locked up right now. Bail was denied. Okay. The judge said no bail for him, and he is locked up until the sentencing comes down, which could be anywhere from 30 to 60 days. All right. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about this whole Diddy trial. I mean, it was a long one. I gave y'all the sauce, if y'all go on my page, as much as I could, because a lot of it became repetitive and it just began to go on and on and on and on. And it was just being way too much. And I didn't really have time to be reporting on it towards the end of the case. But I did want to come out and give y'all the verdict for today and what ended up happening. So y'all drop in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this whole case. Let me know what y'all think. Is he going to get 20 years for these 2 counts, or is he going to get less than that? Do y'all think they're going to do time served? What y'all think going to happen, right? I don't know. We shall see, but I will be here to give y'all the sauce. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and smash that like button and go ahead and subscribe to the Redefine Me channel. I'm Tasha checking in with the verdict for the Diddy trial. It's over, y'all. Finally, we can move on. I love y'all until we meet again. Bye.